Good morning. Hi, Terry and Marty from Material Rewards yet again for another tidbit. This week we're going to introduce or reintroduce you to a product that we have always loved, and it's kind of gone to the next generation. So we wanted to just bring it up again to show you what you can do with it. The original product was called triangle paper, and it came in either sheets or it came in rolls. There's all different names for it. And then one of the designers, it's Miss Rosie's quilt company, she came up with the idea of doing pads of triangle paper-ish. So the big ones, these are for 10-inch layer cakes if you want to use them, or you can cut your own. These are called cake mix recipes. And then she came out with cupcake recipe cards. So these are for charm packs, all right? So what you get when you open one of these, well, first of all, and Marty, do you need to get closer?
No, I get you.
All right, what she does is on here, she will give you, these are some suggestions of blocks that you can put together using this piece of triangle or recipe card. So what you got, as I rip it, when you open it up, you're going to see a piece of paper and you would rip this off. Now on this one, you're going to get one big fat half square triangle and 1, 2, 3, 4 little square half square triangles. They will go all together, coordinate, and they will be able to make some of these blocks. So this, and everyone is numbered. This is the number 1 series, and she has a whole wad of them. We're going to start out with 1 to 4, and then the same thing on the little guys.
Well, we found that they sold the best because everybody really liked them. They were the easiest.
They were the basics. They were the basics. Number 2, again, it'll give you the different options of the squares you can put together. And then number 3, and then actually number 4, but I'm not going to show you. I'm actually going to show you. So what we've got is, this is something that Marty's been putting together for quite a length of time. It's one of your long-term
Just because
projects.
I've stopped for a long time.
Well, that's it. It's a long-term project. And this one, she used number 3. The recipe card's number 3, and actually she's not really doing anything that's on the front. No. You just did your own thing. Right. You did squares. So she would make four squares that were the same. Oh, you need
Excuse me.
She would take 4, put them together, and so that's how she would make her blocks.
I've always loved this design, and basically that cake mix pad gives you 2-inch half square triangles, but they're stinking perfect. They are perfect. They are perfect.
And if we got up real close with the camera, you would see that the points are perfect.
Yeah.
Let me back up. I'm very discombobulated this morning. Sorry. There are usually 42 sheets in a pack because traditionally in a layer cake or a charm pack, you get 40 or 42 pieces of fabric. Now, for example, on this one, okay, so that's Marty's. That's a number 3. This one we borrowed from our friend Barb. She doesn't even know we borrowed it for her. So, hey, Barb, hope you don't mind. And this is number 1. This is recipe card number 1. And on this one, she used a consistent background, and then she used a layer cake for her darker colors, and then she added sashing and a border to continue to get the size she wanted. So in her layer cake, she had 42 of her solids. So all she had to do was she had to cut 42 10-inch plain squares, or her backgrounds, so it works out to be 3 1/8 yards. So if you get 3 1/8 yards of a background, that will go with your layer cake. All right, so that's what she did on this one.
And that's a good sized quilt. I mean,
yes.
The borders, it has just a couple of borders on it that are folded
borders
over, but you're definitely a twin, almost probably pushing a double.
Oh, really? I would have thought bigger than that. But it's
I don't
good
think
size.
so. It is good size, and it's gorgeous. And she used the Joe Morton yesterday layer cake on that one.
Yeah, so you could do a kid's layer cake. You could do whatever your heart desires. Now, I'm going to show you, and then we'll come back to the other part. I'm going to show you how it actually works. So what you start out with is 2 pieces of fabric. I told you I wasn't with it this morning. 2 pieces of fabric right there. All right, you go right sides together. You take one of your sheets. Now, one thing that some people do is they pin the bejesus out of this. Don't do that. You're going to center that on there and just put a few pins in. I mean, 4 is plenty.
Just to hold it so that it doesn't twist on you.
Doesn't twist on you, right. So then if you look at this paper, and I'm going to walk it around for Marty so she can see. If you look at this, right here, there is a little star. It says start. So what you're going to do, oh, actually you start one. You have to do this one twice. So you start here and you follow the little arrows. You come around and go back. And then you do your number 2 and it goes around. So it's almost continuous line, but not quite. All right. So you just follow her dotted lines. You stitch on the dotted lines. You cut on the solid lines. She does give you some instructions in here. You should shorten your stitch a little bit.
Yeah, because the paper rips easier.
Yes, the paper will rip off easier. All right. So that's what you do. You go around and you stitch this whole thing. So you end up with what looks like.
I'll come to you this time.
What looks like this. This is the back. Okay. So then if you've got one of these round mats, they work really nice. But if not, you can certainly... Revolving, sorry.
Round.
Revolving. So what you're going to do now is you're going to cut. Now, I tend to be, because I am the way I am, sometimes I can't see those lines quite as well as maybe you should be able to. But in my mind, I know if I've got that where it's supposed to be, I can come over here and say, yep, that's a 2 7/8 inch square. So rather than looking over here and worrying, I just put my 2 7/8 inch mark on that straight line and whack that off. So what I usually do is cut the whole outside first, get that off, and cut it off. I just find it's easier to look at the measurement rather than trying to find that line underneath my ruler.
And fun fact, because you notice she said 2 7/8. Whenever you have a half square triangle, if you want to figure out, you know what size it has to finish, but you've got to know what size it cuts. You take your finished size, so not the cut size, the finished size.
So this is going to be 2.
They were 2 inches. You add your regular seam allowance, so that takes you to 2.5. And then you add 3/8 of an inch for each diagonal that you're sewing. So for a half square triangle, that's 1/3 inch. So then that's what takes you to the 2 7/8. Now, if you had a quarter square triangle, in other words, it would be 2 diagonals, you'd add the 3/8 plus another 3/8 because it's 2 diagonals. I know that's math and I know it's early, but you guys can handle it.
That's just basic quilting math. Okay, so you see what I'm doing now. I'm just going through, and I didn't get the beginning there, and I am cutting on all, remember I said cut on all the solid lines. Take your time on this part. There's other places you can speed things up. Okay, now remember I said all the solid lines have to be cut. So now what we're going to do is we are going to cut these diagonal lines. And these, I'm just using my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And if you are careful not to disturb all the pile, it becomes, and if it's off there, it's not a horrible thing because this is just your seam allowance.
Your seam allowance at that point.
I think I forgot this one over here.
Yeah, I thought you were turning it for that.
No, I can put that right there. It becomes a game, especially because the thing is even if, like we've talked about triangle paper before, you can get it down to itty bitty little pieces. So the game is to try to cut the whole thing without disrupting any of the papers.
Can you get it done without moving it?
Yes. And yes, you can. Okay. Huzzah is right. So now I have all of my squares cut, or my triangles. So then what I do, and again, everybody does, you get to, it's a game.
You find your own system.
You find your own rhythm on this whole thing. So what I usually, and this is my on the couch at night. You all always hear about my on the couch at night jobs. This is, you get these all done and you put them in a stack. Now, and we've talked about this 100 times, so we're going to talk about it one more time. You got to get rid of the dog ears. That's these little guys that stick up. So what I like to do is I go like this.
I was going to say, quit moving it around so much.
I'm sorry. Are you all seasick yet?
No, I just got your elbow.
Okay.
That's all.
Don't look at her lines. I have to take my glasses off. You're going to go, okay, here's my triangles.
Quit moving
Sorry. Here's my scissors are parallel to the long side of the triangle. Snip. And then you move down and you snip and then you move down. And I can't do it while I'm trying to talk. And then you have these little things that you try very hard to keep them in your lap and they fly all over and then Debbie has to vacuum and...
I find a towel works really well because it really kind of cuts.
Well, if they ping farther...
Well...
It was funny. We were at a retreat this weekend and I said to one of the girls, You know that you're at a quilting retreat when you go into the ladies' room and there's little dog ears all over the floor of the bathroom. So anyways, and then you flip it around, and again, you're going to be parallel to the long edge. You're not going to go like this. You're not going to go like that. You're going to be parallel. So I'm just going to cut these and show you what we're going to do with them. So we're going to just cut a bunch of those, but you see how quickly this goes. Now this is such a good alternative to make 1,000 half square triangles and then trim them down to size.
Or mark a diagonal line on 1,000 half square triangles.
Yeah. Okay, this is enough.
Yeah,
we
you
can
got
do
plenty
this.
there.
Yeah, I got plenty there. All right. So at this point now we got to get rid of the paper. There are two schools of thought on this. Some people like to take these to the ironing board right now.
That would be me.
Oh, that's Marty. I didn't know if I was doing something wrong.
Nope, that would be me.
Marty likes to go to the ironing board at this point, and she grabs the top. This is why I don't like doing it this way. And plus I cut all my fingernails off. She grabs the top layer, which should be your dark.
No, see, very honestly, the way that I do it, I would have put the paper on the other side so that all you had to do is flip out the dark triangle and press it.
Oh.
You're not pressing the paper back.
So you would pretend this is the dark. You'd be going like this.
I would press it like that because
Right.
what it does is that paper holds the seam so that you don't stretch it. And you
Right.
all know that you do that.
Now, but, okay, that's how Marty does hers. Now I'm going
But it's
to
obviously
show
not
you,
right.
No, I'm going to show you how I do mine. I said there's two options. All right. First of all, I'm going to show you how to rip the paper off because I like to do mine after the paper is gone. Do not go like this. Wrong. Bad. Don't do that. What you want to
Can
do...
you do that red circle with the line through
Yeah.
it?
You put your thumbnail right there on my stitch line in the middle, and you rip it like that. Like that, all right? And then you pull that off. By doing that, you're not risking pulling those few stitches at the top and bottom out.
Which you have shortened them, but...
Yeah, so you're going to do that. Now, what I like to do, and I'm going to, this is going to look really stupid. Okay, Marty said I have to speed up. Okay, on my couch at night when I'm doing this, I will rip it off, and I go like this with my thumbnail. And then I go like that with my thumbnail. And I will do that, boom, 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 take the whole pile to the ironing board, press it like that, and Bob's your uncle, it's all done. And I did not stretch any seam out. Okay? So that's how we did that part. So once you make all your half square triangles, it's what do you do with them? Here's two options.
Right, and she gives you options on the paper.
On the paper.
But what I like about these the best, I think, is that if you have that bent and you want to do maybe a little bit of playing with design, this is like the perfect tool to do it with. Because you have perfect pieces to start with, because they are perfect. And you can just start moving them around and finding what pattern you like the best.
Okay, this is our friend Kathy. We borrowed these from her. She is in the middle of doing one of these. I don't know quite what she's going to do.
She's not knowing yet. She put
Yes.
she put the pinwheels together, but then she was just like,
Right. And this is where we talked about a flannel wall. Oh, we really wanted to talk about that today. I don't know if we
Yeah,
have
we
time.
did.
We have to talk really fast. Okay, so she went through all of this huge stack of half square triangles. They're pinwheels now. I did, and this is using number 4 also.
So going back to Kathy. So you could sash them. You could put an alternate block in with them. You know, there's a lot of things that you could do with them.
Put
You
them
just
on point.
right,
with
put
an
them on
alternate
point would be
block.
gorgeous.
And this is all. This is a reproduction.
That's a reproduction, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now this one, it's the same paper as this one, but I just laid my blocks out. And this took 2 sets. Now I did, remember we talked about if you want to do a plain background or a consistent background. So that's what I did, is I did a consistent background. So you can do something, you could just do a table runner with this if you wanted.
Or a bed
There's-
runner across the bottom
yeah.
of a bed, that'd be gorgeous.
So there's that. What else could you do? You could do something like that. The sky's the limit.
Right. You
The
just have
sky
to
is
you just
the
have to want to
limit.
play with it. That's
Yeah.
all. And
And
it's just
so
a matter of twisting and turning blocks, guys.
And if you are not the person that wants to design your own, take one of them off the cover of her thing and
Right.
do one. All right, then Marty was working on this one this weekend. So this one was using number 4?
4, yes.
Number 4 of the cupcake.
Yes.
And rather
So
than,
what it was that middle one. But but go ahead now.
But what she did is instead of using a charm pack, she just picked 4 different colors. 2 reds, 2 blues, and a background and a border. But That's, so she, again, it's the same concept. And on these,
So if you don't have a charm pack or a layer cake in your thing, guess what? You've got stash. You can cut your own squares.
yep, that's exactly right.
And the nice thing is they don't have to be perfect because you're going to be trimming everything down to size later.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was in my idiot mode, and I decided I was going to play with number 3. This is number 3. And what you have is, where's the, do we have a cover to number 3? Right here. I started out, I was going to make this block. Okay? So I made a whole bunch of, and again, I'm using a charm square. So I made a whole bunch of, you can see it, that block. So that block is that block. Then I decided, well, I should make a bunch of those blocks. So it's the same exact pieces, it's just how you lay them out. So I made a whole bunch of this block. And then it was like, okay, what do we do with them? So Marty fussed and fiddled with them, and she did them, and she laid this out. And she did a combination. So this is one, this is a big block using 4 little blocks. This is using the alternate block. And the same thing. And again, people were saying to me, oh, the pieces are so little. They're not, because they're on paper, so you don't have to worry about them.
And they're perfect.
And they're perfect. They are perfect. And then I was...
So you can do small and still get nice accuracy.
Right. I was supposed to go to this one and do that, so we did all 3 varieties, and I forgot. So what I did is I did a whole bunch of the first block, and look at that cute little...
That looks really funky through the camera.
Doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It really does, because you get like little arrows.
Yeah.
Arrows.
Well, see, I
here.
see almost like a circle.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
But this and this came
From
out
the same
of
piece.
one charm pack and some background. One charm pack and a background. So that's what triangle paper is. Now, real quick, do we have time? Do we have real time?
Go quick.
Okay, real quick. Flannel walls. We wanted to talk about this. Flannel walls are one of the best things you can invest in for yourself. We have our big, huge one that
is buried right now.
it is really buried, yeah. And a lot of you probably don't have the room for that. But what we did is there's a product called Homasote, and it's a sort of an insulation product, I think. So you would go to your hardware store and ask them for it. And then it's basically, it's just a lot of compressed paper, I think. And get a piece that is the good size for you, wherever you can put it in your room, and have them cut it for you. And then just get some cheap flannel, white flannel, wrap it around it, staple gun it or pin it or glue it, whatever you want. And that way, if you can mount it on your wall, yippee skippy. If not, where you can lean it, or you can put it behind a door and get it out of your way when you don't need it. But a flannel wall is really very, very effective to help in the designing aspect.
Well, the thing is with a Homasote, you can pin into it.
Yes, that was the reason for the Homasote.
Yeah, you can pin into it, pins in and out. I know some of you have used the blue board.
Yeah, but that can kind of pebble and fall apart.
Yes, Homasote won't do that.
Yeah, Homasote we found, I mean, we put that in when we
yeah, so that's like 38, 36, 30 some odd years
30
old.
some odd years old, and it's been used and abused. So I think that's what we wanted to talk to you about. Pricing. The little guys are $8. There's 42 sheets in them, and these guys are also 42 sheets, and they are $13. So hopefully they will be on the website by the time you get this. And if you are thrilled with them, try it. If not, then you will never use them again. One more thing, just a real quick thing. I'm almost caught up on the mailing, girls. For those of you who've been waiting for things, we got our last shipment in Friday, so I'm hoping that I will have all my mail caught up by tomorrow. If not, if you don't get something, do be sure to let us know, because we can have problems with delivery services. We won't name names, Sherry. Poor thing. Okay, kids, that's all we've got this week. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.